Hey, church family, just wanted to record a quick video about what happened at the Southern Baptist annual meeting a couple weeks ago. Now, I wasn't able to be there because I was on the mission trip to Utah, but I stay pretty well aware of all things that are going on in our national convention, so I just wanted to share a couple things. So the first is that there were a lot of headlines that the Southern Baptist Convention has come out against IVF, which is in vitro fertilization. Now, that's not entirely true. And brings me really to my first point that I want you to know. Do not trust what the national media has to say about the Southern Baptist Convention. They don't have our best interest at heart, right? And so they will spin and tell half-truths in order to, sell newspapers or get clicks or whatever they do now. So keep that in mind, always. So there is an organization called Baptist Press, which is fair. It is run by the Southern Baptist Convention, and it reports things accurately and clearly. And I would always encourage you to go to, I just believe it's baptistpress.com or maybe it's .org. So as far as IVF is concerned, there is a ethical issue with IVF when there are fertilized eggs that are either discarded or kept frozen indefinitely. And the issue is that we believe that life begins at fertilization, and therefore you have, this issue of fertilized eggs alive that are being thrown away or being frozen or, just what have you. And so that just causes an ethical issue, especially in the pro-life movement. And so what the resolution did that the Southern Baptist Convention passed was to sort of clarify that there is a discomfort from us, a opposition really even, for not using fertilized eggs. That's it. So, there's going to be people who say, oh, the Southern Baptist Convention is anti-IVF. It's not true. There's just that one ethical concern about what do you do with a unused fertilized egg. Okay. Then the second issue that was before the convention has to do, and this has been going on for a few years now, and so the second principle is that there is always something blown out of proportion with the Southern Baptist Convention. There's always a group of people who want to fight. I tend to think of those people as hyper-fundamentalists. And so to be clear, I'm a fundamentalist. I believe in the fundamentals of the faith. We are a biblical church. We teach the Bible. We believe the Bible. We preach the Bible. We believe the Bible is God's inspired word and sufficient for life and practice, both personally and corporately as a church. So there tends to be a group of people who don't understand that and I hope you've heard of this joke before, whenever 2 or 3 Baptists are gathered, there's 3 or 4 opinions. Now, the hyper-fundamentalists think that whenever 2 or 3 Baptists gather, that we should all share their opinion. So do you understand what I'm saying? That there is no flexibility and no grace, just rigidness when it comes to certain, doctrinal positions. So every year there's something, and every year the hyper-fundamentalists agitate. And it's just part of, being a convention of 45,000 churches. And that's just life. So here's what I want you to hear from me. That when it comes to women pastors, so this is women who function as pastor or elder or overseer or whatever term a local church wants to use. So whenever a woman functions as a pastor in a Southern Baptist church, the Southern Baptist Convention has been clear that does not align with our beliefs. We believe, and the Baptist Faith and Message makes it clear, that the office and function of pastor is limited to men. Now, we have voted out over the last few years, 2 years, this year and last year, a couple of churches, most famously Saddleback, who, if they were fundamentalist agitators, they were egalitarian agitators who they really frustrated. And quite frankly, Saddleback frustrated me with their attitude. And so last year we voted out 2 churches that had women pastors. Then again this year, and that was like at 90% plus. then this year, again, voted out another church that have women pastors and hold to a strong egalitarian position, which says that women have the right to be pastors. And so we have disfellowshipped them from being Southern Baptist churches. Now, we also believe that we don't get to tell them what to do. Like the Southern Baptist Convention doesn't get to tell a local church what to do. Instead, we're not like Methodists or anything like that. Instead, we do get to say who is Southern Baptist and who's not. And so while a local church has every right to have a woman pastor, they don't have every right to remain a part of the Southern Baptist Convention. Which brings us to what was called the Law Amendment. And so the Law Amendment wanted to add to the Southern Baptist Constitution that if any church has a woman pastor, then they are no longer deemed in friendly cooperation with the Southern Baptist Convention, essentially saying that they are disfellowshipped. Well, it did not pass, even though 60% of people, I think it was like 61 or something like that, of the convention voted. They had to get a 66% vote. Now, long story short, the news said that this means that Southern Baptists accept women pastors. That's a lie. Again, 3 churches over the last 2 years, plus many more, have been disfellowshipped for having women pastors. What happened with the Law Amendment was a reflection on the fact that some people are just sort of fed up with that hyper-fundamentalist group in the convention, but also that what was really not reported, that the Law Amendment would not have changed anything. It would just have created a scenario that would be really, really bad. In other words, here's what would happen. So a church who has a woman pastor gets reported to the Southern Baptist Credentials Committee. The Southern Baptist Credentials Committee uses, we're getting into the weeds, but uses a thing called Bylaw 8 to determine, to follow the process, of whether or not this church is in friendly cooperation. The Law Amendment would not have affected that process. So when a church is then sent to the Credentials Committee, the Credentials Committee issue a investigation. They send out a questionnaire to that local church. They have to wait till they get it back. Long story short, if it's shown that this church is really and truly no longer believes what Southern Baptists believe about pastorate, then they are disfellowshipped. And the executive committee of the Southern Baptist Convention then disfellowships them. But every single church has the right, once they're disfellowshipped, to appeal that disfellowship to the messengers of the convention. So we're really getting into the weeds. Long story short, you can appeal, and the messengers then get to hear your appeal and vote. So here's what could have happened if the Law Amendment passed. Let's say that there is a church that has been careless in how they use the term pastor. And so they have, Sister Mary Lou, who for ages and ages has served at the church as their children's pastor. She doesn't function as a pastor. She has no pastoral authority. She just operates with the title. Well, if the Law Amendment had passed, then the Credentials Committee could have greater reason to disfellowship that church. But that church still has the right to then appeal to the messenger body. And imagine, Sister Mary Lou just saying, hey, this is a title. I don't preach. I don't ordain. I'm not ordained. I don't baptize. I don't do the Lord's Supper. I don't do weddings. I don't do funerals. I don't make decisions for the church. I just am, the children's pastor. And imagine, what if she just really pulled on some heartstrings, and then all of a sudden the messengers did not vote to disfellowship them. Then all of a sudden the convention would have been outside of our Constitution, which is legally problematic. So, long story short, and if you've endured to the end, you are amazing. 1, the Southern Baptist Convention did not condemn IVF. They condemned, long story short, discarding and permanently freezing fertilized eggs. Second, the Southern Baptist Convention has held very strongly onto women not being a part of the pastorate in function. And so any sort of news or anyone else, even a pastor, even a Southern Baptist pastor who says otherwise, is telling a lie. And they have reasons to sometimes, sadly. So what do we learn? Don't trust the national media. And also, come to me if you have any questions. I do my best to stay abreast of what's going on in the convention and would be happy to answer any sort of questions. Thank you guys. Love y'all. See you Sunday. Bye.